I'm almost done with this alligator sweater. It's all knit up, pieced together, everything's bound off. There's just 2 more steps left. First, we need to weave in all of the ends on the inside. So from all of those color work changes, I have lots of ends that need weaving in. I know some people feel like this is a really tedious step, but just cue up something good to watch or listen to, grab yourself a cup of tea. I'm using this Moment mug with an ergonomic handle and a cute little knitting T-Rex on it. And I am going to show you a couple of tips and tricks for making sure that everything's smooth where those color work bits started and stopped, and let's get going. So besides my cup of tea, the only thing I really need is a needle. I'm using a bent tapestry needle here and a pair of scissors. I like to start with the most visible tails and then work my way towards the inside. So I'm just gonna take this bit from the neckline, and for ribbing, I like to spiral that tail down the ribbing on the inside. Depending on how long it is, I might go a little bit longer, but since this is about 1 inch, that seems like a good idea to me. And then I'm gonna pull that so that there's a little bit of extra room for that to stretch, and then snip. 1 tail done. Let's get this inside tail. So this is from where I started the stranded color work. And so I want to look and make sure that I'm pulling it snug on the front, but not too tight. And I'm not going to go all the way up with this one because I don't want it sticking out at the back of the neck like your clothing tags do sometimes. So I'm gonna go about halfway up, pull it, stretch it, snip. That's how I deal with ribbing. Now let's head to the inside of the sweater, and that's where we've got all of these color work changes on the sleeves, on the side of the body. This is where I'm going to be keeping myself busy pretty much all night long. There are ways that you can do this where you're securing the floats in the knit stitches, or you can secure them in the other floats. I tend with stranded color work to secure my stitches in the floats. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip to the front, and I'm going to tug on this yarn so I can see where that stitch is. And sometimes these stitches can just get a little bit loose because you dropped the yarn and you started with something new. So I'm just going to kind of tug at it until it's a size that I like. And then I'm going to look at which direction it started and where it's going. So it was coming from this direction and it went around that way. And that's the way that I am going to weave it in. I just feel like that gives it some continuity. I'm picking up loops from the stranded color work, and I'll go about 1 inch or so, and then I'm going to bury that down and snip it off. That's really all there is to weaving in ends. It really is, on a project like this, going to take some time. If you were working on a stockinette sweater without the stranded color work, that's a little bit different. You would be picking up the backs of stitches and just making sure that you're not adding too much dimensionality to the surface of the outside of the garment. And one way that you could do that is you could actually split your plies if you have a really bulky yarn and weave off in multiple directions. Now, because I am working with stranded color work, that's not really an issue. I can just hide these in the backs of the floats. And I also don't want to do that just because of the sheer volume of ends that I have to weave in. I will meet you back when this is all done and we are ready to block. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.